Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel. And in our top stories today, you may recall from 4 weeks ago when we talked about the looming energy crisis in Europe. And now we have this from The Guardian. Gas prices rise in Europe as fears grow Russia may halt supplies via Ukraine. Threat of sanctions from Gazprom adds to turmoil caused by damage to Nord Stream pipeline in Baltic Sea. Gas prices have risen on fears that Russia could halt supplies to Europe through Ukraine, adding to turmoil caused by damage to the Nord Stream pipeline under the Baltic Sea. The Kremlin-controlled gas company Gazprom said it could impose sanctions on Ukraine's Navalgaz due to ongoing arbitration. Now, as you guys know, there was a suggested incident that happened there in the Baltic Sea. The statement came from the discovery of leaks of the two Nord Stream gas pipelines under the Baltic Sea near the Danish island of Bromholm in a suspected act of sabotage, although exactly by whom or why remains unconfirmed. Now, there is a lot of speculation that Russia may have sabotaged it themselves, but I just want to play this little clip from Joe Biden from just the other day. If you guys haven't seen it or are aware, I do have shorts on my channel which have been amazing to help out the channel with traffic, as well as you guys liking and sharing the content. But let's just take a listen to what Joe Biden said here back on February the 7th.
This first question first. If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
Okay, well, she asked, how can this happen if the project is under the control of Germany? If you didn't understand what she was saying under the project of Germany. And here Biden says, well, we'll do something about it. Well, I'm not suggesting or pointing fingers. I am simply saying it is an interesting coincidence, is it not? NATO formally blames sabotage for Nord Stream pipeline damage. Military alliance says it would be prepared to defend its infrastructure from attacks in a ratcheting up of tensions between Russia and the West. Now, we know that the tension is increasing. The question is this some sort of provocation? Is some side, the West or Russia, trying to escalate things? And we know right now that Russia is pretty much painted into a corner. When they're looking for 18 to 60-year-olds to come out and fight for the country, 300,000 roughly, although that's the estimated amount. They may have asked for more people, but nonetheless, guys, we have a very interesting development because wars aren't necessarily always fought over religion, as some people say. It is often fought over resources and territory. And, of course, Russia kept seeing NATO crouching in and crouching in and crouching in, taking up more and more countries in Europe as part of NATO, so they were concerned. So you have to at least have some level of objectivity. I'm not saying this to defend Russia or to provide some sort of excuse for Russia. I'm simply saying Russia was watching as NATO was creeping along, so, of course, they thought that this would be a good opportunity to act as far as invasion of Ukraine. NATO said that a series of leaks on the Nord Stream pipelines between Russia and Europe were the result of sabotage, and the attacks of on its members' infrastructure would be met with a collective response from the military alliance. So very interesting words here, as they are perhaps lining up reasons to get involved with maybe the particular, well, as Russia calls it, the special operations, or as Ukraine sees it, an invasion of their country and a war. The statement from the North Atlantic Council, the decision-making body of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, didn't provide details or evidence. It also noted that the damage to the pipelines occurred in international waters, but it marks the first time the alliance has formally warned that it would deter and defend against attacks on its members' critical infrastructure following the now 4 documented leaks in the Nord Stream and Nord Stream 2 pipelines. So it's very interesting how this is developing and how NATO or the West or the United States is responding. Now, I haven't seen any information from Russia concerning what Joe Biden said back in February the 7th. about the United States would take some type of action or would shut down Nord Stream if the Russians invaded into Ukraine. So you have it from him. Now, I'm not suggesting or implying that this has anything to do with the United States, because both sides can make certain levels of arguments. As in, if we have Russia, who is just barely able to conduct their special operation in Ukraine, you mean to tell me they're going to be able to send out a team or particular groups of individuals specialized in demolition to go out there and sabotage their own pipelines, which they could use to then leverage against Europe by just simply shutting off the gas and shutting off the natural gas and the fuel, right? They could just shut it off. They wouldn't necessarily need to blow it up. But then you have the argument that, well, maybe they did it on purpose to then justify, particularly since they could leverage the fact that Joe Biden made this kind of innocuous claim here and go into all kinds of different directions over what's going on over there. But it does appear to be a bit of an escalation. I know that the media and the world press and the establishments among other countries all want to try to keep all this under control, but it is a continuing escalation because we know people in Europe are trying to work out deals. We've heard many times from Denny's, who we watch on YouTube, the commercial pilot there out of Ukraine who gives the daily messages, that Europe and Russia do want to have levels of compromise because, of course, they don't want their energy prices and just the prices of many different things to be going up, particularly now that winter is coming. Things are starting to escalate a little more. So it's starting to ratchet up. It's starting to get a lot more interesting. It's difficult to say what happened here to the Nord Stream pipeline, but the investigation is continuing. But NATO formally blames Sabotage on that. And then, of course, as we said in the article, there's no particular evidence to suggest what may have happened, so it will have to be looked into. So this is where things are going to get very interesting, as we see here, even in the States, when it comes to President Trump. The 6 years of continued investigations into him, and even a 2-year-long fabricated story that was generated. So we have a lot of fog of war, back and forth, propaganda-style things happening right now. Could this be an excuse for one side or the other to escalate things even further? I would appreciate your guys' thoughts and comments down in the section below, particularly those of you watching out of Europe. I'd like to get your opinions and thoughts on what you think might be going on here, because this seems to be continuing to escalate. And of course, you can always stop by the channel and check out some of the interesting shorts that I have. A lot of them are political, but they're also gaming, but they are doing really, really well. And that's what I have for you guys today. Thank you so much to you guys on Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey, and DTube. And of course, all of you wonderful, loyal fans, subscribers, and supporters here on YouTube. That would be the channel icon appearing right there on the screen. You can click on that to subscribe if you haven't already, as well as to get notifications when there's content here on the channel, to include those shorts that I try not to always include in notifications. And I will see you guys in the next video.